Now, the polls have opened in two eastern states of Germany in elections which the far right is expected to perform strongly. Thousands of demonstrators took part in rallies in Saxony and Thuringia on Saturday. The anti-immigrant Alternative for Germany party, or AfD, is expected to do well in the election. In the city of Erfurt, protesters denounced the AfD as fascists. Police say around 2,000 people attended anti-far-right rallies in Dresden. At an AfD rally, one of the party leaders told supporters that Germany needed controlled borders and the expulsion of illegal immigrants. It's thought the party could emerge as the largest in Thuringia. The vote? Our Europe correspondent Jess Parker has more.
These are regional, not national elections. Nevertheless, they could be seismic. Here in Thuringia, the far-right Alternative for Deutschland has been leading the polls and running a close second in neighbouring Saxony. However, because many view the party as extremist, something they reject, they may struggle to find coalition partners in order to actually take power. The man who heads up the AfD here in Thuringia is a highly controversial figure called Björn Höcke. He's a talisman of the party's hard right and has twice been fined this year for knowingly using a Nazi slogan, something he denied. This vote may also deliver a major repudiation of the government in Berlin under Chancellor Olaf Scholz and his traffic light coalition. It's a litmus test here in the country's east, a year ahead of the federal elections.
Our correspondent Jessica Parker there. Well, let's cross live to Berlin to speak to Markus Ziener, who's a senior visiting fellow for the German Marshall Fund think tank. Thank you so much for joining us, Markus. First of all, why do you think there has been this shift by voters towards the far right?
Well, thanks for having me. I think there is a couple of things in play here. The one is, of course, as mentioned earlier, the migration problem, the migration topic. Many people in the East feel that we have too many migrants, and this actually happened under the rule of Angela Merkel. When she was Chancellor, we had a big wave of migrants coming to Germany, and this is what the AfD, the far-right party, is capitalizing on to say, well, we have too many. This is the one topic. The other topic is a certain sentiment of feeling like being left behind, being underprivileged, and not having the same wealth and situation, being not as well off as in the western part. So this is also something, two parties, the AfD was mentioned, but also there's another party at play, which has been formed only half a year ago. It's called Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, Alliance Sarah Wagenknecht. And this party also is trying to, take advantage of some kind of East German identity and saying, well, we are the real representatives of East Germans.
And Markus, while we're speaking, viewers are seeing live images from a polling booth in Thuringia, or Thuringen, if you fancy the German, more German pronunciation. But what do you think Olaf Scholz's party has failed to do in order to capture these voters? Or do you think these are voters who would express their vote as a protest either way, regardless of what Mr. Scholz's party could do?
I think the latter is true, that no matter what Olaf Scholz is doing, it's not going to give him some more credit. I mean, as mentioned earlier, I mean, it's the one thing is migration. The other thing, which I didn't mention, was Russia and some kind of, certain sympathy for the Russians, which is interesting here because East Germany suffered under the oppression by the Soviet Union for so many decades. However, this is something probably in the West, we see that as a fact. However, many people in the eastern part of Germany, they don't see that like they have been living under a dictatorship. At least they don't think they were so badly off when they lived at that time. So in hindsight, there is some kind of nostalgia in play. Now, what does this have to do with the regional elections? Both the AfD and the BSW, they're both asking for a stop of sending weapons to Ukraine. They believe that the West and NATO, they have a certain responsibility and that they should not prolong the war by sending weapons to Ukraine. So interestingly, although there are regional elections, the topics of migration and the foreign policy issue of Ukraine are high on the priority list and could become decisive topics for voters to vote for the far right and the BSW.
We shall see. Thank you, Markus Sina. Thank you for your time.